Committee of Sunset Venice resident, and for those of you who do not know, the backside right here is the heart and the soul and the spirit of Venice. Before the homes were bought for just over $1 million and just under $1 million, and the gentrification that is ruining Venice. These families here don't benefit. They have relatives who can benefit from the contracts for plumbing, construction, bricklaying, masonry, anything. But for some reason, these contracts are made from the 818, anywhere. But the brothers and sisters here who have families 6 generations deep. Now on the 7th, we have some great grandmothers here too. I don't know you by name. I don't have the pleasure of knowing you. But I do have to say, except for you, and you still need to find out what happened to those trees that we traded for parking at the end of San Juan. It's been about 8 years going on 9. Okay, so what I'm saying to you right now is that you need to put a moratorium on the destruction that's happening in Venice. Because 19% of the overall construction here in the 2-mile radius on the 90291, that is ridiculous. Are any of you keeping tabs on the Quimby money that we're allotted for all this parcel maps? Are any of you keeping tabs on the parking variances that you're collecting? Because somehow these parking variances are supposed to be collected, and within a 2-mile radius, we're supposed to have a parking structure. Perhaps we can create some jobs there with some additional shuttle rides for the visitors. I don't see anything on your agenda about the Mellow Act, ever do I hear anybody saying, let's go after some affordable housing, because within the 2-mile radius of that beach, to our coast, the entire coast of California, not one of you are dedicating yourselves to the people you probably employ to either clean your house or to wash the dishes at the restaurants where you guys are making your wheels and deals and making your business, sipping your wine and having a good meal. I'm saying to you, shame on you. It's like putting the fox in the hen house. And I'm not for it. I'm not for it, and I'm not going to be for it. Because right now, the house I live in, you put a marble in my kitchen, it runs one way. You put a marble in my hallway, it runs the other way. The back side of the foundation of the house where I live in, God forbid there's an earthquake, liquefaction is going to take the back side of my house, and maybe I'll make it to the top side of Staples and take my landlady, who's 86 years old, retired, and the vultures of the real estate people who bother her in the front of her house when she's just trying to get some sun. Shame on you. Every time you put these bonus exemptions of the density and the height, you are ruining someone's quality of life. You're taking away their sunshine, you're taking away their ocean breeze. We can't even hear the drums from the drum circle. And you know what? Maybe you're not individually responsible, but know this. I'm going to be praying tonight that my ancestors meet up with yours and whisper in your ear and clean your conscience and do something for the people that were here originally from 6 generations back and before that, the Tongva. Please, put that on your agenda, the Mellow Act.
So let's just be real clear on what our committee does in the neighborhood council.
I'm clear. I used to sit on it.
Okay.
I know what you guys are doing.
What would help
all
us?
it is cashing your exemption. Bonuses. Please, I sat and I listened to the former mayor's technical assistance committee about housing. And you know what they talked about? What kind of incentives can we afford to lose? It was all bankers and realtors and developers. Well, we really can't afford to put this affordable housing units over here because I can't really, what kind of percentage of incentive can you afford to lose? This language is disgusting because none of it is relative to being a good neighbor, to smart growth, sustainable. None of it, especially when the economy is taking a big dump and I rent where I live, and guess what? There's a $4 million house on my street. Google is ruining it. I don't know anybody who's working at Google that looks like me or any of the families here. So please, be honorable. You carry the memories of your ancestors in your DNA. Think a little bit outside the box and be creative and innovative. Have a heart. Think about the neighbors that you are impeding and changing their quality of life. Your decisions. You, every single one of you. Jim, I love you. I give love to
So
your daughter.
I'll make you a recommendation. Can I do that? Can I
Yeah.
take 2 seconds?
I want to make sure that you check on those trees. I don't live on San Juan anymore. So wait on the trees.
One of the things that we were talking about at the RAC hearing this last Saturday was the ability of any individual anywhere in the state to make what's known as a public information request. Now,
Yeah.
the conversation came out because of the disproportionate rationings that are happening right now with affordable housing and all of the SB 1818 projects happening on the west side of Los Angeles, where the real estate values are the highest and the density bonuses bring the developer the most money. And that's out of proportion with the rest of the city, and it's being pushed onto us. And so one of the comments that one of the people made, well, how could we find out where all of these affordable housing units are being put? And it has to do with exactly what you're saying. But if you wanted to take a very positive, pro-action kind of approach to it, you could make the request of the housing department, the housing department, building and safety, and the mayor, and ask the 3 of them who are responsible for exactly what you're talking about, for all of their records dating back to the time when the Venice Town Council won the lawsuit against the city about putting in housing near the beach and affordable housing, and ask them for all of the records citywide that have to do with affordable housing. They would have to produce those documents for you. And from that, you could then compile
I
what's being
agree.
done
I don't even
disproportionately.
go to the VSC meetings because I am in City Hall and I'm moving and shaking my own thing and doing what I can my own way. You know me. Now on the other side of it, the mayor was on TV and he did say he has 16 projects for affordable housing. That's not even a drop in the bucket because we're not even talking about taking care of the veterans who make up a large proportion of the number of homeless. But sir, with all due respect, really, I thank you for the time. I don't want to take up too much of the time. But he already has a list. He already has a list going back 10 years about the subdivisions. And I heard him talking earlier. I hope he shares that knowledge and that paperwork with the board. Yeah, please make it. There's a public record right there. I don't need to waste my time, my energy, my electricity. Brother here has a plan with those with that information. He says that he has information on subdivisions.
It takes real quick. Anybody can, in 30 seconds, pull every small lot subdivision, every condo done in Venice in the last 10 years. Because
yeah, but you already did it, so you should.
I'm just, like you're attacking me. I'm just a volunteer here, you know? Trying to invest the time that I give in the community.
I'm not attacking
you. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to give you the tools. You know, Jim and I are trying to help you with your passion project. I think we believe in it. We believe in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So.
Well, why don't you guys make it a priority?
I did spend all weekend, and then, as you overheard me saying, I pulled every small lot subdivision in the community, I pulled every duplex in the community. I'm doing the work. It doesn't take long to do, but I want to help you help yourself too. It's not just about throwing it on my court and asking me to do it for you.
But you guys are LUPC, you guys are,
Well,
volunteering for all of us, right?
Absolutely, it's important. I want to support you in your project too. It's not just do it for you, it's support you in it too, right?
It's not a project, it's actually a quality of life, social justice issue. It's not my issue, it's probably a lot of people. And thank you for your time though, thank you.
Do we have any more public comment? Please?
Yes. Aren't you representing all of us?
Correct.
What's your name?
Are you Carol Anderson? Yeah.
Well, I don't understand where you're going with that.
You don't understand. Aren't you representing all of us?
Yes.
I'm asking him. Yeah.
I said yes.
Oh, I didn't hear. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment, please?
I have a question in reference to my name is Naomi Nightingale. I have a question in reference to the project on the gas station. And you said you personally support more liquor stores, or more purchasing of liquor. Well, that's
personal.
Talk to me about it later.
Well, that's personal, but he made the statement
No, I
public.
said I shouldn't be standing into my personal.
Okay,
opinion.
well,
Talk to me
I
about it
probably
later.
shouldn't be responding to it, but I have a comment.
Well, talk
I
to
just
me-
want to make a statement about it, whether you said what you said or not, in reference to there being another facility there that can sell beer and alcohol. It's true that Whole Foods sells beer and alcohol, and there's a liquor store right across the street that sells beer and alcohol, and there's a number of wine places along Sunset, Rose Avenue that sells beer and wine. So my issue is another proliferation of a facility that sells beer and alcohol is just not needed in that condensed environment. So that's my position about that, and I will sign your list there to be on your notice about any future meetings that you're going to have.
Mayor, just give me a piece of paper with your email address on it, okay?
Okay, I will. And then the next statement that I want to make is about the small lot divisions.
No, that's on the agenda. You'll have a chance later.
Oh, okay, it's a general statement, not anybody in specific project, but I'll wait, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Any other public comment?
Did you guys ever figure out who approved your name? Oh, Charlotte Perrine. Did you guys ever figure out who approved 621 Millway?
Oh, you're the person who's asking.
Yeah.
Let me explain how the system works. It's a database online, and all of us, and there's like 10 people that all have passwords to get into the system. The system doesn't track who made the change to the individual case, so there's no way for us to go back and look it up.
You don't know who was assigned?
We know who was assigned to the case. That was Manouche, but she said she didn't make the change, which is quite possible.
Well, were you assigned to it?
Not that I remember.
But she doesn't
No,
see
I didn't know
anybody. Let me explain. Jake said at the beginning of the meeting that he over the next week he's going to be meeting with Sarah to assign out cases. There was a point in time when he first came on the committee where he was assigning cases and maybe didn't tell everybody that, because I know I got cases assigned to me that I didn't know about either. And so it's possible that cases are assigned out because somebody says, oh, well, that's a good case for that person, and they assign it. Well, if I don't go back into the system and look at what new cases have been assigned to me, it doesn't automatically tell me that something has been assigned.
Then how can it be approved if it wasn't?
Because somebody clicked
Somebody
on it.
didn't know they had
Somebody
it.
clicked on, but what the part you have to understand is just because it was clicked on approved doesn't mean that there was any hearing, that there was any discussion, that any action whatsoever took place. The database shows one field having checked on. It has nothing more to do with that.
But even though it had requested
Wait,
variance.
Stop 1 second. This is a VSO anyways.
We went through all this
But
already.
she's trying to understand what happened.
Yeah, I was trying to understand what happened, why.
I believe, what I think approved is probably the wrong status, is de minimis. This is a case that never had a public hearing. It was a over-the-counter application where it meets the specific plan. If you go in and
It didn't have variances?
no, not with a VSO, absolutely not. Why do you say it's not true?
Because it's at the discretion of the city planner. If there are variances, it's up, he can approve them without a hearing.
Exactly.
No,
It doesn't have to have a hearing.
they do, but they can't.
Well, they do.
What variance do you believe that they, because from the records that we get, it says it meets the specific plan. We don't have any data that says it doesn't. So I think
Tell me the address again, just so I can look it up.
oh, hang on, 621, sorry, I had 835, my bad. Might be the case. But if you're saying you can get a VSO at the variance, I want to hear about that. Show me an example, please.
Well, they do DIRs instead.
No, but a VSO, that's very clear. It's a VSO. If you see a VSO that has a variance, I want to know about it. Please, I'd love to see that.
I think it's Mildred.
Mildred.
It's Mildred? Yeah, I just went under Minutia on Millwood, and there's one that was a VSO. 3-story single-family dwelling. Yeah. I don't know. I'd rather take tonight and dig it up right now. We'll have to look at it offline. But is it already under construction?
Yeah, this is really
They had a hearing on the 23rd in West LA. Oh, don't.
23rd of January?
Yeah, and Jim, you said that you spoke to the applicant.
Yeah, the applicant said he was going to provide us drawings and has not. I know that Linda Lux, who's the president, sent the zoning administrator, or at least she said that she sent the zoning administrator a letter to hold the case open. And the applicant told me that the zoning administrator, Lawrence Green, was going to be holding it open for 2 weeks, and that was not going to give us time to react.
So what you need to do to be effective here, just suggestion, write to Lourdes Green directly as an individual, as a neighbor. Anybody that you have that has concerns with it, write to Lourdes, because keep in mind, when we say approved, all we're doing is making a suggestion to city planning. You guys understand that part, right? So your voice is critical here as well. We're one voice. Yours is a voice that's important as well. So write to Lourdes Green. It's Lourdis.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Let me pull up so I give you the proper email address.
And the case is tied to what's known as a CDP, a coastal development permit. So once Lauren is published, and she just had her hearing last month, it's probably going to take her 2 to 3 months before she writes what's known, the legal document is called a letter of determination. It's probably 2 to 3 months out. And at the point that she publishes that document, and the Coastal Commission receives it in their office, not the date she mails it, but the date that they receive it, it starts a 20-day appeal process. And you can still appeal it to Coastal.
So it is not approved.
No, it's not approved. She has not approved it yet. She would have written a letter of determination, which is her approval process. That's what it's called when she finally approves it. And that then starts a 20-day appeal period. So you still have a lot of time. What you need to do at this point is get a hold of her, get on her mailing list, so you get a copy of it. Ask her if she could send you a copy of the case file. She may not, she may, it depends if she has it electronically. If she doesn't, you can go downtown and ask for a copy. They'll make one for you. It costs you 50 cents or something.
They're not going to send you a copy of the case file.
They may send you, she may send a copy electronically if she has it. But at any rate, once you have that, we're more than happy to help you try and understand it, but it's past anything we can do at this point.
Maybe I could take out the approval of cityhood.
Ready for her email address?
Okay.
LOUR.GREN@lacity.org. She's pretty responsive. All right. Any other public comment before we get into the cases? Yes, sir. Nick?
Yeah, so regarding the multi-unit property, here those 2 buildings, is the developer obligated to pull tanks underneath the ground, even though it's going to be another gas station, or is there some kind of inspection process to look at the tanks and figure whether you pull them?
Best that we talk about this afterwards, but the answer is that the architect says the tanks have been, the underground storage tanks have been renovated, done, whatever, in the last 5 years, and it's too expensive to think about doing anything with moving the tanks. So the plan is to leave the tanks and the pumps where they are. We'd like a pretty structure on top of it.
Okay.
It's a very, very tightly regulated set of permits. It's regularly inspected by the county.
We're actually going to hear this case, though, right? So we're throwing a lot of hypotheticals out until we get the info, right? Okay, so that closes public comment. One more, please.
My name is Jim Jubank. I just wanted if James could quickly repeat the 3 points, the constructive suggestions you had, because you were a little bit interrupted and I didn't get them all.
On which project?
The lady in the corner was speaking, and she used to suggest in the mayor's office and a couple of other places.
Oh, building and safety.
Building and safety.
And the housing department.
Thank you.
And the request would be a public information request. And you'd have to be very clear about what you were asking for. But you would basically want to ask for where are all of the units that have been created that would be considered under the Affordable Housing Act. Under the Mellow Act. And I mean, they could be, you could do a public information request on any of the things she was talking about, but that clearly is one of the things that one could do. I can warn you that if the city may ask to run such a report off of their computers, that they would want to charge some nominal fee, and they're allowed to. But They're required by the state to do it, so.
Thank you.
You want to be very, very precise about what you ask for, because the broader you make your request, the more expensive it's going to be. So you got to be very, very clear. In other words, you may not want all conversations. You may only want the conversation that resulted in units being created.
Okay, is that it for public comment?
I just want to repeat one more time. There are two developments that are going on Brooks. I don't have the exact addresses. Both of them, neither of them have gone through the neighborhood council. One of them appears to be a remodel that only has one wall up. The other one is a complete, a brand new construction. I don't know how they got development permits and are actually building without the community knowing about it. The cumulative effect of these type of rogue constructions, as I call them, are having a detrimental effect on our unique community character, and I'm also very concerned about the Mallow Act compliances with these projects.
So besides reminding me of another case that I'm working on that I need to report on, if you know of a project where more than 50% has been taken down or the entire roof has been taken off, by all means let us know.
No, don't let us know.
Yeah,
Take a photograph,
and make
and there's a LA Department of Building and Safety. You call 311. They are obligated, I forget the number of days off the top of my head, to come out and inspect it, because if it's a remodel, 51% of the wall and the ceiling joists have to stay up.
Jake and committee, I have done that and have not been happy with the results that we've been getting. Basically, they tell us that everything is done by the envelope when we know perfectly well that that is not the case, especially for the coastal zone. So I don't know what other...
I mean, to be really frank about it, the neighborhood council is going to be not the best avenue to bring that to. Building and Safety Council office is clear. Building and Safety, were you not happy with what they said? Take your pictures and the Building and Safety report and go to the council office. That really is your most effective.
But if you got a report back from them after the meeting, show it to me.
A report from
Building and Safety.
Building and Safety. You say
they
you
didn't
filed
send
a complaint.
anything. I will request it.
Have you filed a complaint?
I did file a
Okay,
complaint.
did you get a case tracking number?
I did not.
It gives you a case, if you go online and do filing a complaint, it will give you a case tracking number, and they're required by law.
I did it by telephone.
No, so go on our land use and planning, there's a click right there for report violations.
If you
Click
did,
there.
you can still look up your old case.
You can even attach pictures.
Okay.
And you get an immediate case number.
And then you can go back and look at what's the status of it if you remember what email address you used. And you can go back and see, and it'll tell you right online what the status of it is. And once you know that, if you're still not happy with the status, let us know.
Yes.
I'm happy to look at it.
Okay. The concern is the cumulative effect.
That's a different story.
I live in Indiana.
Let me just
Drive down
report
Brooks every day.
also, Jake, on 609 Rose. 609 Rose is a case that we heard a while back. It's the old Ace Trophy Gallery, or Trophy Shop. The request was made, actually the case is being appealed because it was approved by the city, and I guess if there's an appeal going on it, I don't know what the appeal's about, I haven't seen it, but I was asked by some of the stakeholders in the neighborhood to actually verify that there is 50% of the walls and 50% of the roof still there. So I went out with my laser and I actually checked how much of the walls are still there. And the two inspectors that had been there before, both the regular inspector and the senior inspector, Jim Garrison, had both come to the same conclusion that I did. More than 50% of the walls are still there, and more than 50% of the roof is still there. So it's one of those things that unless...
So one wall is 50%?
No.
No.
He's talking about 609 Rose.
609 Rose, more than 50% of the original walls are still there.
Okay. I'm certain that they're not. That's not the case on these other ones. Okay. I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so that closes public comment. We'll get into the cases now.
The trophy one is the one that's not providing parking, right?
Excuse me?
I believe there's 9, off the top of my head, I believe there's 9 parking spaces, 6, 9?
609 was originally, I believe, going to produce 8, and then through a lot of neighborhood outcry about them having a loading dock that was going to be sharing parking spaces during the time that they weren't open, the zoning administrator forced them to remove 2 of the parking spaces and put in a loading zone. So
But
they,
it's offices and a restaurant.
it's offices and a
there's
restaurant.
only
I believe it's 4, I think there's 6. They moved it back and
Gotta
forth.
get moving on. I mean,
Yeah.
you
We
guys
can
can
talk
talk
about
offline. I mean,
this
at some
after.
point, I've got to hear a case. We're an hour and 15 minutes into the meeting already. We haven't gotten to a case yet. I mean, it's important. But Jim is the staff member on it. If you have questions about the detail, all-in subdivision of 3 homes, similar to a project that we heard a couple months back before the holidays. Marnouche is our staff on it. You want to, anything you want to brief out or for the applicant here?
So 3 lot subdivision,
Put over there a couple. Actually, put one. Where?
has been in front of the planning committee, a public hearing. They're holding on their decisions to hear from us, our committee. They've had public meeting on the side, 12 people showed up. And on my staff report, I've made a comment about their comments. They were concerned about the subdivision, light, mass, and construction, timing, and noise. And, however, the 3 lot subdivision is according to regulations, the side yards, height, they meet the requirements. They're asking for some adjustments as far as the balconies are concerned. I still don't agree with that.
No, it's not. As a point of correction,
Yeah.
actually, there are no adjustments. We clear that up in city planning.
I can understand the parking.
No, the parking is not, no adjustment.
Yeah, that's okay. We are
The
not.
parking is, the balconies too. You're allowed a 30-inch projection.
On
No, on the front.
and
This is exactly
the
what we
corner
have.
lot, but
And then you are allowed 20-inch projection on the side. So we clear that up with them. There's no, in the
that's
application.
not a major issue.
No, there are no adjustments in the application.
And you may explain as far as the 3 lot subdivision being under 5,000 square feet, the lot itself.
Okay,
It's
so
4,670.
you just need a few minutes, right? 4 or 5 minutes. 2.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, should I start?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so this is a 3 lot subdivision. The existing lot is 40 feet by 120 feet, so it's 4,800 square feet. We're building a total of 4,406 square feet, 3 units. The first unit is 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, and 1,341 square feet. Second unit is 3 bed, 2.5 bath, 1,325 square feet. And the unit in the back is 3 bed, 3.5 bath, for 1,740 square feet. Okay, so the numbers basically add up to an FAR ratio of well under 1. Okay, it's a 0.94. We're giving and we're giving a 3-foot, 3-inch dedication in the back. As Marnouche said, we are complying. This is a 3 lot subdivision. I understand it's a very controversial topic. I've seen many of you here. This is the second time we're presenting this project. We presented once before the holidays. From our point of view, it is a development project, but we think it's a positive form of development. We can save that discussion for later on when we talk about small lot subdivisions generally. For this project, we are observing the height limits, all the zoning and specific plan requirements in terms of the building envelope. So we are providing 2 parking spots for each unit. 4 of those spots are completely covered. The other 2 spots are half covered. Okay? And they're all off the alley per the Venice specific plans. And they're in tandem. So, in terms of the mass and scale of this project, we believe that it is actually in the character of the neighborhood. Some of you might disagree, okay? But that's, and as we go, I'll show you a diagram which shows that there are multiple multi-story buildings on the block, and also the adjacent block on that side. So rather than take a lot of time taking up a lot of time explaining the project, because I know a lot of you already have heard it once. I'll walk through the images, and then we'll open it up for public